Might be able to hear it now. Let's see. I need someone to come in here and tell me what's going on. That way I know if they can hear it. But anyway, this is whoever just came in here. Can you hear me? Please let me know. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? I need to know. Please tell me. And guys, I'm not going to have the best reception here because it is at my house. So I'm hopefully it stays good. And I didn't know I didn't turn down all my stuff. Okay, awesome. Fantastic. So what I'm going to do is what I showed in how to be a professional craps player video. Some people took that video not as what it was said in there, but they made conjecture about it and stuff like normally happens. What I was showing in that video is that if you want to try this professionally, I was trying to show a way you could do it. The way I tried it was with my personal strategies, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it happen on a consistent basis using my strategies, mostly because I just didn't have the big enough bankroll. So it's huge majority of it is the bankroll. That's the biggest part of it. But if you do want to try this, so this is what this video series is about. I'm going to come on every day, or at least try to come on every day. And with this $10,000 bankroll I'm starting with, I'm just going to try to win $500, and I'm going to use the don't pass, and that's it. All I'm going to do is progress the bet if I lose to where I win, and I'm going to win my $500 every day. And I want to see how many days in a row I can do this. See if we average 5 or 6 days before a loss. Because obviously we can't lose $10,000 if we only win $3,000, right? We got to win a lot more than we lose. So that's something that definitely has to happen. My son is saying hi to you guys. So we're going to start right here. I'm going to start with 100 on the don't. I'm just going to randomly roll. Randomly roll. And we got an 8. All I'm doing is trying to win 500. If I win the 500, the video's over. Obviously, this could be really short or it could be really long. All right, boom, there's a loss. Lost 100. We're going to go to 300. And guys, I don't have a set of amounts that I do here. They're just kind of random in my head, like what I think I should do. And you could obviously have a set amounts if you thought you should do it this way. And there's a 6, so our point was 5, and we rolled a 6. And we hit our 5. Ouch. All right, so it's 400 down. So that's one thing you got to keep track. You got to keep track of how much you're down, right? So we're down 400. And we got a 3. Uh-oh. So we just won 700. We were down 400. I'm going to get it all in black chips. And this is why I think you should do it this way. 4, 5, 6, 7. 700. Let's rack it all back up, see where we're at. Because there's 2,000. Let's see how much is in the 5s. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 8,000, where it's supposed to be. Okay. So we are up $300 for the day so far. Put $100 there. All right, here we go. And we got a 4. There's the 4. All right, so this is the tricky part. When I get the 4 and 10, I like to throw odds on it, right? I'm trying to get my goal right away. But we're not going to do that here. We're just going to roll it out. Stick to just the don't pass. Oh, hit our 4. Good thing we didn't odd it up, right? Lose there. I'm going to go to 300. There's the 5, 4, 1. Let's move the dice around a little bit because I get told sometimes there's a 5, 2, 7. I get told sometimes that I roll into the corner all the time and skewing the dice. I doubt it, but okay. All right, where are we at? Oh, so now we are up $500 for the day. All right, so we made our goal. Made our goal in like 3 or 4 shooters. All right, maybe 5 shooters. I don't know, very many. $500 for the day. Rack it up. I'm gonna get a blue chip. Put it right there. So you'd have made your $500 that day. Again, guys, I do think you could do it this way. You got to have a lot of money to do it, and you got to have the guts to progress your bet like that. But I do think it's possible, and I think we can repeat this process a lot. Even if we get to the 6th or the 7th level. And so I'm just going to kind of show you what like the 6th or the 7th level would be. So there's 1, 3, 7. So this next one, so you have 5, 1100, you went 1500. And then say like you went like something like 2800. You know, if you got here, you're starting to get in trouble, right? There's 35, 4, 4600. So like this is the 6th level. It would be a 4600 on the Dell. Now, are you going to get this far a lot? No, you're not going to get this far very often. But will you? There will be times you probably will. Now, that's the thing is you have to be able to be making the $500 a day plus account for a loss, a full $10,000 loss every now and then. Every now and then, probably once a year. Let's say it happens once a year where you lose the full $10,000. So you would have to make your money to live plus that full $10,000, right, to make this viable. Now, obviously, your whole bankroll, if you're putting $10,000 on the table, you should probably have more than that as a bankroll. And that's why I'm saying that it takes a lot of money to do this professionally. It takes a ton of money to do this on a professional level, even what I will refer to as like a semi-professional level, right? And that would be like just doing it for side money, right? Like you got the 10 grand and it's kind of like investment money, right? You go try to make a couple $100 every month, right? You still will have to, hello everybody that I haven't said hi to. You're still going to have to do these things, right? You're still going to have to manage this variance. You know, you're managing the variance is what it is, right? And that's why bankroll is the key to the losses. Strategy is the key to the wins, right? So your bankroll covers the losses of your strategy. So to do this, you'd have to have at least a table max bet of 5 grand, right? To do this, to even attempt it. Now, you'd probably want to be at a $10,000 table, just in case you got to that next level and you had to get into the rest of your bankroll. But that's the thing with this, guys. In my opinion, the only way to make a living playing craps, if you were trying to make a living playing craps. No, you're not going to get this in Arkansas. You could get it in Mississippi though. In Mississippi, it would be no problem. I've seen the Horseshoe give $10,000 and $20,000 limits to people, so it can be done there, which is just right across the border. And guys, I'm not personally trying this. I'm not going to go try this. I already took my attempt at this and found out that it's not the not being able to make it or make it thing that bothered me, but it ruined the game of craps for me. Like, I didn't like at the casino when I was trying to do it as a job. I didn't like it. So I'm not going to play that way no more. I like to enjoy it. So I don't have any intentions of trying to do craps as a livelihood maker of any kind anymore. I didn't like how it put a negative spin on it for me. It made it work, and I didn't like that. Right. Yeah. I don't recommend it either. I don't think you should try to do this professionally. Guys, there's so many other things that go into it. and I'm just talking about being a gambler professionally. All right. First of all, guys, when you gamble professionally, it doesn't have a health insurance plan. Right. So you're gonna have to find that somewhere else. So there's a lot of things involved in it that are kind of hidden costs that you don't recognize. There's no retirement plan in it, right? I mean, there's a lot of things about it that aren't great. Even if you're really good at it, even like say you're a great poker player, if you're not winning one of those big tournaments every year or something, you're probably struggling, right? You're probably struggling throughout the year. So again, gambling professionally, I used to think it was like a really big dream of mine. It was my goal. Guys, I've got all the way away from that. I don't really. It made it not fun to me, and I would rather have fun doing it. I would rather go to work, make a living traditionally, and have fun playing craps, have fun playing poker, than having to go and actually earn the money playing poker, playing craps, whatever, gambling on sports, and having to actually earn my living that way. When I just kind of dipped into it, I thought it was terrible. I didn't like it, and it wasn't the wins or the losses. It was that it ruined the game for me, and I just didn't like that. And I don't want no part of that. That's why I'm the first one to admit I have totally right, and that's exactly right. And so I've totally relegated myself to just want to have fun playing craps now. If I make money, I make money. If I don't, I don't. That's fine. Um, but I just didn't like it when I made it a job. It just ruined it for me, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm not going to do that again. Uh, but and with this kind of stuff, I'm putting this out there because this is. I saw a bunch of questions about it on the Crapsathon. I've had a bunch of personal questions about it just to me. And so I'm giving people, if you want to try it, this is what I think will work most of the time. It's still gambling, so nothing is 100%. But do I think this will work more than not? Yes, I think this will work into the 90s. I think this will work 90% of the time, at least. All right. Is that enough to sustain life? Maybe. I'm not really sure. Because if you have the bad 10% at the beginning, but if you had the bad 10% at the beginning, then the other 90% that would be wins wouldn't feel as good, right? Because you'd be always fighting that first 10% back. So, again, personal opinion, don't try to be a professional craps player. Don't think it can sustain livelihood. But if you are going to, this is what I suggest. And that's why I'm going to show it day in and day out. I'm going to see how many days I can build up purple chips here. It might go 50 days. I might win 50 times in a row. It's very possible. I might have 50 of these chips before I have one full loss of $10,000. It's very possible. All right. Or tomorrow I might lose all $10,000. Do I think Georgia will crush Alabama? If you want my opinion on that, my opinion is this. No. If you look at Georgia's schedule, they played one ranked team all year. One ranked team. So they had one ranked competition all year. Now, there is some teams that they had, they both played. They both played Arkansas, for example. Georgia crushed Arkansas. Arkansas gave Alabama quite the game. But they were at very different times of the year. Arkansas was a much better team when they played Alabama than when they played Georgia. I personally, from what I've seen year in and year out, when Georgia gets to that title game against Alabama, Georgia has had some games and lost every one of them. And it seems like whether it's Nick Saban over his coaching proteges or if it's just that Alabama is just a little more talented year in and year out. But, we've seen the Georgia quarterbacks just have ridiculously... We've seen them just have these ridiculously good... And Alabama still comes out win. They still win. Sorry, I have some problems here. Sorry. And Alabama still ends up winning these football games. So, Do I think that Georgia will win? No, I actually think Georgia will lose the game outright. I think it'll be really close. I think it'll come down to the last possession probably. But I think that just kind of the mystique of it, just the overall, Alabama's good at winning football games. They're good at being in first place. They're good at winning national championships. Nick Saban's the best college football coach in the history of college football. I don't think there's any disputing that. He literally just wins. That's what he does. All right. Even the A&M game that they lost was very fluky. Now they've had some fluky wins. The Auburn win was very fluky, right? But that's my baby, y'all. Year in and year out, Alabama wins football games. They win all the time against these same teams, right? Against these great Georgia teams. It's not like Georgia just all of a sudden got good, guys. Georgia's been good. Been good for 10 years, 15 years. The Mark Richt era was really good. I mean, just Georgia can never get over the hump. And I think it always boils down to one of two things. They kept running into those great Florida teams, or they run into these great Alabama teams. And is this Alabama team as good as other Alabama teams we've seen? Probably not. But I just think the schedule they've played has made them look better than they actually are. We haven't, they didn't go through what Alabama went through, right? They didn't have to play week in and week out these good SEC West teams. All right, they didn't run into all these teams. So I think that you're going to see the true Georgia, and I think that Alabama's offensive line will actually be able to block Georgia's defensive line some, and Alabama's quarterback is really good. So I think we're going to see some pressure put on Georgia's DBs, something that really hasn't happened all year. And I actually think Alabama will probably lead the game most of the time, and I think Georgia will have to actually come back. Personal opinion on it, just from what I've seen year in and year out with Georgia, you guys, the Fromm years at Georgia, the quarterback Fromm, he had great games in the championship game against Alabama. I mean, ridiculous 3 touchdown, 350-yard games, and he didn't win none of them. He didn't win any of them. You know why? Because Alabama's offense always saved the day and beat Georgia's defense. Now, so this is a Georgia defensive team, right? Georgia's hyped up defense, best defense in college football, maybe best defense in college football in a couple of years. Well, they haven't played anybody. I mean, the truth is, if you look at their schedule, they really haven't played anyone. So we'll see. We'll see. But I personally think Alabama will win the game. It's just kind of history's on the side, the better coach, the better quarterback. It's Alabama. I mean, so even though Georgia recruits 5 stars, right? So here's the thing, okay? Football, NFL, college, high school, whatever you want to call it, X's and O's matter, but talent matters most. The talent, no matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about player talent, coaching talent, talent is the paramount thing in football, all right? The better talent, the more wins, and that's guaranteed, all right? Year in and year out, the most talent generally wins, right? So Alabama recruits the most talent year in and year out. If Georgia has 3 5-star recruits, Alabama has 10. And that's the difference. And that's the big difference, is that the teams that recruit 5 stars, they'll get 3. Alabama will get 10. And so they have just 5 stars just year in and year out, just coming in. And guys, the guys that were best in high school are usually the guys that are going to translate to college, are usually the guys that are going to translate to the pros. Now, do kids get better as they go, or were they at a small school so they didn't get rated right? Sure, that does happen. But the majority of the time, being a 5-star generally matters mostly on your physical attributes. Yeah, I don't sleep a lot. Yeah, I don't. Mr. Bob, have a lot of stuff on my plate. But that's kind of how football works. It's about talent first. And if you don't believe me, go look at some of the great NFL coaches of all time. Jimmy Johnson says it all the time. the talent is what wins football games. It's not scheme and all that. It's talent. If you're not talented, you're not going to win. And I'm not saying Georgia isn't talented. Georgia is insanely talented. But this is the first time they're going up against someone that's as talented. And so we'll see how they now on the other side of it, I want Georgia to win. I want Georgia to win, not because I dislike Alabama, but we've seen Alabama there enough now. And I know there's Alabama fans in here, but I'd like to see Georgia get a title. And one of our good Craps friends is a big Georgia guy, Mr. Charlie from DGE. He's a big Georgia guy. I'm sure he wants to see Georgia get a title in his lifetime. So, I mean, yeah, I would love to see Georgia win and go on and win it all because they haven't. That's exactly right. I mean, and when you say great coaching, that means they're a talented coach, right? It's talent at the coach. You know, guys like Nick Saban are talented at what they do. They're talented recruiters. They're talented coaches. You know, guys, if coaching was easy, players like Michael Jordan would have been able to coach. He was a terrible coach. He was a fantastic player, absolutely terrible coach. Right? There's talent to coaching. All right. Look at guys like Andy Reid. Andy Reid never played a snap of football in his life, probably. I know he has that one video where he's in the pump, pass, and kick competition. But Andy Reid, he's a great coach, super talented coach, but he doesn't play football. But he's super talented, right? So, I mean, again, talent spreads through everything, right? You can be talented at a lot of things. And, guys, talent wins. In sports, talent wins. Talent's first. The other stuff is secondary, right? Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look at guys. Okay, here's a great example of guys that literally just, carried their teams, right? You look at guys like Allen Iverson, right? Allen Iverson carried his team when he was in basketball. He was just super talented. He was overly talented compared to most of the other players in the NBA, and he kind of carried his team. It was him and a bunch of role players. So, I mean, talent is talent. There's no substitute for it. And that's why year in, year out, the best quarterbacks win. The bad quarterbacks stay bad because they're not as good as the good ones. I mean, look at the NFL this year, okay? Look at all the top teams. Yes, that's true, Wayla. All the top teams, okay? So, let's go through the top teams, okay? You got Tampa Bay. They got a pretty good quarterback at Tampa Bay, right? You got Buffalo. We got a pretty good quarterback in Buffalo. You got Baltimore. They got a pretty good quarterback in Baltimore. You got Arizona. They got a pretty good quarterback in Arizona. Green Bay. You got a pretty good quarterback in Green Bay. You're starting to see the trend here. Kansas City. They're on top of their division. Pretty good quarterback in Kansas City. So, the more talented quarterbacks win football games, and that's how it goes. And that's how it goes year in and out. And it's actually not all that difficult once you just accept that it's about talent. I mean, and look at the up-and-comers, right? Joe Burrow. They have a pretty good football team, but would they be that good without him? I doubt it. I mean, he's a pretty talented guy. And look at the guys that are not as talented, right? All right. We'll take the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns going into the season were loaded. They have 2 elite running backs, 2 elite receivers, 2 good tight ends, all these top end players on defense. But the one problem was their quarterback, right? So they're a 500 team because he's a 500 quarterback. And guys, that's the thing is talent wins, right? Talent is the winner. From just a talent standpoint, is like we'll use the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are more talented than other teams out there, but they're not going to win nowhere near as many games. They're just not because the quarterback. And since the NFL is dictated off quarterback play 90% of the time, it just doesn't work. I mean, look at the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers have statistically the best defense in the NFL probably. And they're a bad football team because their quarterback play is terrible. It's atrocious. but they have the best defense. But it doesn't matter when your defense holds the other team to 17, but you only score 14. You know what I mean? So it's all about talent, guys. In anything, really, it's about how good you are at it, or how good the whatever you're projecting is. If you're betting sports, you're doing a predictive thing, right? I predict this will happen. Well, if they're not overly talented, that probably won't happen unless you're betting a negative thing, like interceptions. I love betting interceptions in the NFL, right? Yes, Cam Newton. So betting interceptions in the NFL is a great thing, right? So you take guys that are going to throw a ton of interceptions every year. Rookies, or your guys like Cam Newton, or yeah. Sorry, I already did the crap show part of it, and actually, guys, my phone is about to run out of batteries. I was really only going to show this, and then someone asked me about football, and when people ask me about football, I talk a lot, but. So, anyways, guys, appreciate your time. Like I said, I'm going to try to come on every day and do this and show this same thing. See how many days in a row it goes. See how many days we can make $500. We'll just kind of get an idea. I usually, the way I bet on interceptions is I look at two things. Thank you. I look at two things when I bet on interceptions. First thing is the guy going to throw 40 passes in the game. So that means you have 40 tries to catch an interception, right? And the second thing as I look at is what is their, interception to pass ratio? All right. Do they throw an interception once out of every, 38 throws? If they do, well, then I'm going to bet it, and that's kind of how I look at it. But I look for guys that are going to throw the ball a lot, because it's just as a law of an averages thing, then, or not the law of averages, but because there's no such thing as that. But just the percentage chances, right? Yeah, Diggs has 9 picks. That's true. He's a pretty good bet, but he went 5 games with only 1. So what you'd be up a couple if you bet it every. He, so, but again, it's you're betting interceptions. Interceptions are a good one to bet, especially with rookies. Rookies tend to throw a lot of picks, tend to have a very high interception ratio. Guys like Zach Wilson, even Tua has thrown a ton of picks this year, and like the good one, if you were on Patrick Mahomes, right? Because he's going to get good value on his. So if you were on him to throw interceptions, you did great. Problem is no one probably was. Maybe after the 4th or 5th game they were, but not at first when you're getting huge value for it. But anyways, guys, thank you for your time. And like I said, I'm going to try to come on every day. I actually uploaded a video earlier. I don't know if I may have to set it to public, and I'll see if I have to do that now. But anyways, guys, thank you for your time, and I'll be on later again tomorrow. You guys have a great day. Mac Jones is a beast.